Hi everybody, thanks for joining us for Northern Ag TV. We're coming to you from Fairmont Hot Springs at the Montana Farm Bureau Summer Conference, of course joined by President Cyndi Johnson. And Cyndi, this has to be one of the most fun events that comes together for Farm Bureau. I think of the education, the committee meetings, and the leadership and fellowship that Farm Bureau members share.
Yeah, it is a great event, and it's one of the reasons we are able to pull young people in. It's a good time to be gone from home. You know, good timing always helps. And there are some great speakers, some great opportunities for some leadership development, some great opportunities for involvement with committees. You know, it's an opportunity to bring an issue from home to someone who can do something about it. And it's a great place to start with that idea, that issue, and then we'll take it to the next level, which is back home to the counties.
And I think we saw a great example of that with the legislative session this year. Policy that was developed at the county level that made it through the process, I think really showed the Farm Bureau grassroots mission at work.
Yes, indeed. The issue was black bear depredation of livestock and the inability of producers to recover from that. And so the policy was proposed from Cascade County, and it went through our policy process. The delegate body in November approved that policy, and then a legislator picked it up and carried it for us. Our legislative team helped shepherd it through the process, and it actually was signed into law. So now folks who lose livestock to black bears will have an opportunity to recover some of that loss. And it was a great example of how this grassroots policymaking works.
And even though the session is over, I feel like there's so much work to do even coming out of that. You talk about what happened with property taxes and the work that still needs to be done on water. And Farm Bureau members, they have to lead. These things matter to their business, and they have to be the ones to lead and guide our legislators.
Yes, culture, they are the ones with the boots on the ground. They're the ones with the feet in the dirt. They're the ones with the critters that are trying to, water is such a huge issue. And there's been some resolution, but it doesn't work well for everybody in agriculture, and we need to bring everybody back to the table. We need to test some of the legalities of these issues. We need to explore possible resolution to the conflict that still exists. It will forever. Water is that way. But there's got to be a continual discussion about it, and that's why Montana Farm Bureau exists, to help producers get to the issues and have a voice.
And it's not just about state issues either. There's a number of federal issues you're working on with, whether it's, Farm Bill, some of these tax issues we're dealing with, and then this MAHA Commission Report that came out that really threw a wrench into a lot of crop production.
Yes, MAHA is Make America Healthy Again. I'm not sure that they're pointing in the right direction. They want to give responsibility, a great deal of responsibility to agriculture. They're depending on not sound science to create this report, and agriculture did not have a seat at the table when they developed the report. There's no way to lay 100% responsibility at the feet of agriculture for the things they think are wrong with America's health, for sure. I grow a healthy, safe, abundant, inexpensive product. And when it leaves my farm, there are a whole lot of hands and companies that touch it before it gets to your table. I am not going to grow something that's not safe for you to consume if I won't eat it. There's a lot of different places for us to explore resolution for America's health, and I don't think it lies at the feet of agriculture.
Well, and so important for agriculture to share that story and have that seat at the table. And the last thing I'd have you touch on, Cyndi, it really seems to me this year especially, Montana agriculture is two different stories. There's a record high cattle market, a grain market that won't do anything. Some places have record moisture, some are in a drought situation again. I mean, that creates some challenges and some opportunities in Montana.
It does. And, we, in Montana Farm Bureau Federation, we support each other. We understand, we get it. And we're a mix of all agriculture. We have niche agriculture, we have conventional and organic, we have ranchers and we have farmers, we have foresters and miners and cherry growers. And we all come to the table to try to help some of these problems. We get involved in the drought committee. We get involved in marketing issues. We get involved as much as we can to help solve some of the problems that face Montana producers. Montana Farm Bureau is a great conduit for resolution.
And we appreciate what Farm Bureau does. Thank you so much for joining us, Cyndi. That's going to do it for now, but we'll be back to have a quick look at the markets.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Talking with someone that you know is stressed out, those are difficult things to approach, but if you're good friends with those people, reach out and say, I'm here to talk to you. We can find somewhere to get some assistance. It's hard to get involved, but at the same time, you want to just say, hey, there is help available.
For more tips in dealing with stress in agriculture or for free counseling for egg producers, visit beyondtheweather.com.
Well, thanks for sticking around for a look at the markets, everybody. Of course, we'll start off with the cattle, where support does continue despite a mixed finish. A couple of the live cattle futures were lower, but feeders continue to surge upwards. We saw that August feeder contract close at $313. You know, packers do not have enough cattle purchased for deferred delivery, so they've had to pay through the nose to own them. You know, we saw live sales last week $8 higher on the average at $236.5. Dress trade up 12 at $380. The market does feel pretty well supported right now, but you know, we are a little bit toppy on the futures, and any sort of bearish news could send this thing way down. Now, as we look at our local auction markets, in Bowman, heifer to 3-year-old cow-calf pairs sold from $4,000 to $4,550. The older pairs $3,400 to $3,800. Some 8-weight replacement heifers $296 to $321. That's $2,400 to $2,700 a head. And the way-up cow market staying strong from $160 to $172. Video sales season is about to kick off here. You know, Northern Livestock Video had their timed online auction recently, and 425-pound steers delivering in December brought 480. The 400-pound heifer mates at 440. Now, next week, they've got the big video sale where 68,000 head will sell. And in the grain market, improved crop condition ratings did weigh on wheat prices. Winter wheat crop conditions the best in years for this time of the growing season. Spring wheat conditions up 3 points, but that's actually the lowest since 2021. And Russia is projecting a larger wheat crop this year, so all that combined to weigh on the market. Hard red winter wheat down a dime, and hard red spring wheat 7 cents lower. Well, thanks for joining us for today's report. Coming to you from the Montana Farm Bureau Summer Conference, I'm Colter Brown.